Tricky all over there smelling like book and Hennessy and shit. Hell no.
Said what you got flex by that bitch. So what's up?
Hell no. I don't want to holler at him. That's all.
Hold up, bitch. Hold up, ho. Check it out. Oh, you don't know damn nigga. That'll represent like me. Who'll say some shit like me? One who'll lay the dick like me. But you don't know damn nigga. Who'll do the shit that I do? Run through your whole little crew. Pay for it if I got to. Oh, you.
All right, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. Before they kick us off.
Anthem.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was just a matter of time. What's going on, VP? It's you and I today. It's Cast Worthy Podcast. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine, joined today by the VP of Research. We're running a 2-man game for now until perhaps EJ pops up from wherever he may be at this point. Probably has to do with libations.
The great reopening.
Libations and gyrations. But yeah, we here, man. It is Sunday the 12th? 12th. 7 days before
No, today's 13th. Shit.
Today's 13th. Sunday 13th, 7 days before the least favorite holiday of the year.
Yeah.
Father's Day. What's up with you, man?
Not much, man. I'm a little tired. Went out yesterday. I don't go out that often, so was out in the sun a little bit. So got to catch up with some folks. Spend some time with the fam. So other than that, just chilling.
I tell you that vaccine will do it.
Yeah.
It's been a zoo out here. I went to Aquatica on Monday.
Oh, okay. And, I ain't been there in a while.
Yeah, they had discount tickets, and we were like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go there." Yeah, that was not a good idea. Anytime there's discounts to some shit, the masses know it, and especially with like social media and shit, because people follow these parks and stuff, and so it'll pop up, So I start to wonder, like, damn, how can nobody? You can't get the drop on nothing no more because of fucking, marketing and social media is crazy. So that shit, long story short, bitch was a zoo in there. It was crazy.
I used to hate going to Aquatica, man. Like, especially when TJ was young. Because like what we used to do, we would go to the kid area and then we would kind of take turns so that way we don't both get tired out from playing with him and stuff. So it's gonna be there all day in the sun.
Yeah.
And so, we would go in there and then like he would go and like they had this one thing, it was kind of like a jungle gym kind of thing that has like the big pot of water that splashes like every 15 minutes or so.
Yep.
And he would just be going all the way to the top of it. And that shit is for kids. So like I'm trying to go in there with him and I can't keep up because I gotta like maneuver to get into these small ass places. And then I would get to the top and I couldn't get on the slide because I was too big. So now I gotta find my way all the way back down, going through this fucking herd of kids and shit. That shit was terrible, man.
Slipping and sliding and shit.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was. And so now they have like a little kid slide area too, which is pretty cool. So we kind of started there because the one that you're talking about was shut down. They were testing the water. I don't know if maybe somebody peed or shitted or got hurt or something in there, but they were testing it. And then when they finally opened it up, of course, everybody in the park, wanted to go there with their kid, so that area was crazy packed.
Yeah.
And you got these little heathens with the water gun, the stabilized water gun.
Yeah.
And they want to turn that bitch all the way up and try and shoot you in the head and shit. I'm about to kick this little kid in the face. Like, what are you doing? You don't know me.
Yep.
So that shit was packed, man. It was packed, but it was straight. It was dope. It was good to kind of be out. People kind of started off with their masks on, and then as time wore on, you walk around the park and nobody got masks on and shit. You know,
Hmm.
handfuls here and there, probably people just getting there. But it was good to be out. You know, get some sun and just be around people again. Like
Yeah,
that was that was good, man. It felt nostalgic.
yeah. Like back in the
Um,
day of 2019.
yeah, exactly. Way before we got in, we were so irresponsible. But yeah, so that was what Monday looked like, and then obviously just work throughout the week. But yeah, so there is a versus coming up, which is why I started with Trina. And we can get this out the way quickly because I feel like this is gonna be a quick topic for these two. It's gonna be Trina versus Eve.
Mm, I don't like
And
that.
yeah, and I know, you're from down bottom, so that pretty much tells me what your thoughts are on it. But why don't you tell everyone what your thoughts are on it?
No, I actually don't like that matchup. Like I don't think you know, like Trina's music is more, you know, some of the, how some female artists, they're talking about, getting smashed and sucking dick and shit like that, And I feel like Eve is, I mean, she has that kind of music too, but she's more of a lyricist.
Hmm.
And so I don't think it's a equal pairing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that's a good matchup. I think at this point, like what we're starting to see when I see this matchup is I think we're just seeing Timberland and Swiss just trying to get people paid, like get people
Yeah,
residual funding for the rest of their life, right? Because really that's what they're getting when they go into these verses. They're getting from Triller, as long as Triller's around, they're going to be paying all these artists, a
yeah,
percentage, a portion. And so it feels like that's what they're doing, and they're forcing some of these matchups, and they're finding people that are slightly desperate because the one after this is going to be um Soldier Boy and Bow Wow, which not interested to see that bullshit.
yeah, not at all.
I like even I like Trina, but I like them 20 years ago. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, and they're not the kind of people, they didn't their music didn't really age well.
right.
Their music, their stardom didn't age well to me. I'm sure Trina, obviously she's been on the Love and Hip Hops and stuff like that, so she has people that are still watching from that might be some newer heads. But like Eve, she'd been tucked away, dating like uh rich dudes in the Middle East for the last 10, 15 years. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So you haven't really heard from her. So and quite frankly, I don't think either one of them has 20 fucking hits that people want to hear.
They don't.
They all have multiple albums. I mean, they both have multiple albums. I just don't think they both have 20 hits
They
that
don't.
people are gonna be like, oh, that's the, what I mean. You might get
Yeah,
like you get 5 of those each, and maybe they have to be strategic and do some throwaways, like Trina play some hot shit and Eve play some garbage, so that round people are like, oh, and then the next, next round similar. But
yeah. I can
yeah,
see this versus having a very low viewership, man, because they don't each have 20 hits,
no,
So I don't know how they fill the time unless and what I think is going to happen is it's going to be a bunch of features instead of like original songs, like how you just played Trina with Trick Daddy or Eve on
mhm,
some Rough Rider shit or something like that. It's
yep.
it's not. I don't think it's going to be a bunch of their own music. So because they don't have 20 hits.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I expect it to be. Um and then obviously after that you got Soldier Boy and Bow Wow, which I think Bow Wow has 20 hits.
hmm,
Cuz that motherfucker been in the game forever.
yeah,
And he's going to appeal to all them little broads that came up when he was a kid, or when, and when we were younger, that are now adults. But
yeah.
Soldier Boy, I don't know if he got 20 hits.
Well, Soldier Boy, what he might end up doing is he gonna be on some Teddy Riley shit because he produces stuff for people, and
Yeah.
so he can be playing shit that he worked on that's not really his own music, because I
Yeah.
don't think he has 20 hits either.
You might be right. I think you are right in that sense. When I think about Soldier Boy, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see features, and then we'll see that. So I think that one could be interesting, man. But yeah. So those are the next two verses. Not super excited about either one of them. Don't think
Nope.
I'm gonna tune in live for either one of them. At least not for the whole thing. Like I might pop in just to see what Trina got on. You know. Um, maybe pop in to see what Eve looks like, see how she's looking. Might even pop in just to see, depending on where they're doing these things at, it might be good just to see,
Yeah.
um, see what the atmosphere looks like. I think that was the Swiss and Timberland one was interesting to see, people back out in the open because they did it at Live down in Miami, and you
Hmm.
had you were able to see, how many people came out, how many like big stars and stuff were out there
Yeah.
in addition to the regular crowd, which was completely dead on that one.
Yeah.
So
It still surprises me, man, like how people are just out. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but it seems like, CDC says, hey, shit's all good. You still should get vaccinated. Wear a mask if you're not vaccinated. And people are like, oh, fuck that, I'm out. Like it
mhm.
don't seem like people are even like necessarily dipping the toe. It just seems like we just went 0 to 100. Like we came home, I told you yesterday we went out to the beach yesterday, and we came home. We passed by that Cheddar's restaurant that's by my crib. That parking lot was packed,
A zoo.
packed, and I'm
Yep.
like, yo, like shit, just open back up, motherfuckers already flooding restaurants. You're like, come on, man.
Mhm. Yeah. See, restaurants, I'm still gonna be pretty skeptical about, like, unless it's like a Tuesday, but on the weekend, I don't foresee myself going to any big restaurants for sure, unless it has
Yeah,
outside seating. If they have outside seating, I might be down for that, but inside, nah, because you got no choice but to breathe in other people's air and shit, and
yep,
if somebody is sick, and they just maybe they thinking, oh, it's just allergies, and they're coughing and sneezing and shit. They don't have the ventilation in those restaurants like that. So,
hmm,
but yeah, I mean, it surprises me as well, man. I went to Sam's Club yesterday. We talked about it in pre-production. I went and got a big ass. Well, we didn't talk about that, but you were talking about watermelon. I went and got a big ass watermelon. That's what I've been doing for the last few weeks, actually, last few months, is getting a huge watermelon since it's watermelon season.
hmm,
Costco and Sam's have the big joints, and
yeah,
so get one of those, and then we just cut that bitch up, throw it in a Ziploc bag, and eat that bitch out the fridge, man. The shit is
yeah,
so damn good. But I went in there for that, and Costco, or I'm sorry, Sam's Club was a little packed too. Mainly the lines, right? And the thing I like, and it happens at Costco too, but the thing I like about Sam's Club, shout out to them, is they have the scan and go app, right? So I don't have to stand in line. And I don't think a lot of people know about it. So
hmm,
people are standing in line, but like I'm starting to like Sam's Club more than Costco. Costco has a few things that I have to go there because you know Sam's doesn't have it. But when I go to Sam's, like yesterday, I walk in, I go to scan and go app, I scan the watermelon, I scan anything else I want to buy, pay for it right on the app, and then I just go to the door. They scan my phone, and then I leave. I don't got to get in line.
but nothing's like bagged or anything like that.
No, but you don't bag anything over there at those two anyway, really.
Oh yeah, because those two you kind of like they use like those boxes and things like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you
Okay,
got boxes, so you can bring bags or you can bring boxes and do it that
yeah.
way. You know what I'm saying? But it just saves you from having to stand in that line.
No, that definitely sounds convenient. But how does it work for like you were saying with the watermelon? Usually with stuff like fruit, they weigh it. So how does that work?
Oh no. So they have everything. So when you buy from there, they don't do it by like pounds. They just have flat rates for their produce, their meat and everything.
Okay,
So they probably do the meat by pounds, but they put the sticker on it with the price, right? And the
gotcha,
barcode. So you scan
gotcha.
the barcode and boom, just like the meat and anywhere else, but with their fruit and shit, it's just a sticker. You scan it, it's flat price, 5.98 or whatever the fuck. Like the watermelon was like 4.99 or some shit for that big ass watermelon. So
Okay. And now are you kind of like paying as you go, or like once you're done, you hit like done, it tallies everything up and then you pay?
you pay once you're done.
Okay.
Pay once you're done. Yeah, so like I'll and the good thing is you it keeps a running total at the top, including
Hmm.
tax, right? So
Oh.
for someone who goes there who's might be on a budget or might be like, yo, I can't spend more than $60 today. They could keep an eye on it, and if they for whatever reason it pops over 60, they could look at that list, hit remove an item, and then pay and dip out. So it's really good idea. It's really convenient. I love it. Anytime I go in there, I use it, and I wish Costco had it because um same type of thing, and I really do prefer the products from Costco more so
Hmm.
than Sam's personally. But the experience with that app is awesome for me when I go to
Yeah.
Sam's.
Can
So
convenience. I don't know how much stores like kind of factor that in, but I mean, for me, like the convenience of something is, I mean, that shit is worth the price of entry. You know what I mean? Like it's like you can't beat a good experience, even if you gotta pay a little bit more. Like I always think about like two food experiences we had. I was in Wisconsin. We went to a Piggly Wiggly, and we were there for a funeral, and my aunt was gonna make like a bunch of chicken for the family and stuff, and so she picked up a bunch of packs of meat, and she saw that the whole chickens were cheaper than like buying chicken that already was like cut up in the pack. And so she picked up a couple of whole chickens, and then she went to the meat section and asked the lady to get them butchered. And he was like, "How do you want them cut? We can do it in 6 pieces or 8 pieces." She was like, "Do it in 8." So the lady was like, "All right, give me a second." She went to the back, butchered all the chickens up, and then brought them back in one of those like packs how you normally see the meat displayed. And then we checked out, paid for it, and then we got back home, and me and my wife went to the store, and I was like, "You should just get a whole chicken." We was at Walmart. I was like, "You should just get a whole chicken, take it over there, and they'll butcher it up." And then we went over to the guy. He was like, "Yeah, we don't do that here." And we were
yeah,
like he had on the white coat and all, and he was
yeah,
like, "They just make us wear these." He was like, "We don't do that kind of stuff here
yeah.
or
This is
whatever."
for
I'm like, "What
sure.
kind of shit is that?" Like,
This is for sure. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. They do there was a place over here. I forget the name, man. I'm trying to remember. What was the name of that it was like the Whole Foods that's at the Lucky's, Lucky
oh,
Market.
Lucky's.
So when Lucky's was open, I like that because you could go to the chicken section and get like the boneless chicken thighs or breasts or whatever,
Hmm.
and then take it to them and they'll grind it right there to give
Yeah,
you ground chicken or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And they would do it with if you gave them a piece of steak, they would do the same thing. And there's no other franchise right now that's doing that here, at least locally. I mean, if you go to a butcher or something, it can be done, but it was just the convenience of being in the grocery store and not having to settle for the pack of ground beef or chicken or turkey
right.
that's just sitting there. You could grab a piece of meat that looks great, like a real good cut of steak, and just be like, hey, can you grind this up for me? And you pay the same price, you don't pay anything extra for it. So that
Yeah,
was pretty dope.
I wonder if they do that at Publix, because I've taken stuff like produce at Publix, and I was making, like, I remember one time I was cooking some chili, and so I went and got like a bunch of vegetables I was gonna have in, and they were whole veggies, and I took it over and I'm like, "Hey, can you guys chop these?" And he was like, "Yeah, how small do you want it?" And I showed him. He was like, "Are you still shopping, or this is it?" And I was like, "No, I'm still shopping." He was like, "Go ahead and finish your shopping, and then when you get done, by the time you get done, I'll be finished with this." I'm like, "All right, cool." And then I finished all my shopping. I came back. He had it all wrapped up for me and everything, and I just went and checked out.
It's crazy. They probably do that in mad places, and we just never asked. Like I never knew that they would cook crab legs for you right there.
What?
Yeah, if you go to Publix and they got the crab legs, you can ask them to steam it. They'll steam it and season it, or if you tell them unseasoned, they'll just steam it and give it to you that way too.
Damn, I
Like
never knew that.
yeah, like I did that for lunch one day at work. Somebody told me, I was like, they do it for you? They were like, yeah. I was like, you sure? He's like,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's quick. So I
yeah.
went into the Publix at work, got a couple crab leg claws, like, yo, can you steam these for me? He's like, yeah, you want seasoning? I said, no, don't put no seasoning because I gotta go back to work. My fingers be all Old Bay and shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean,
um
that's, yeah, like you're right though. They probably do a lot of that stuff, and we don't know. The first time I had the chicken tender sub at Publix, which is, you know, like I mean, they got to have crack in it. I'm pretty sure.
Everybody loves
Yeah. And the first time I ever had it, I was in line and I was behind this white woman and they're making a sub. And I'm like, I don't recognize. I'm like, what is that? She was like, oh, it's a chicken tender sub. And I was like, where the tender? She was like, oh, I get them chopped up. She was like, you should try it. It's really good, you know. And when it was my turn, I was like, yo, I want mine made just like that. And the way she had it made was they took the chicken tenders, they chopped them all up, chopped up the tomatoes and then, you know, the lettuce and other veggies and stuff like that. Toasted the bread. Like they didn't have a toaster in there at that point. They had a grill. And so they just put the bread on a grill and then put a press on it and then made the chicken tender sub. And, you know, there wasn't something that was on the menu. Like you can get it chopped, unchopped, or whatever. But, you know, they did it with no problem. Life. Yeah.
Changed your whole life, man.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's what happens when you're not an entitled person. entitled people probably just go in and ask for that, and that's how they find out that shit happens, you know. And you know, it's a service. It's a good service to have if they offer it, you know. But they should also you know, either market that or advertise like you can get this, that, and the third, right? Because fuck.
I've done something like that at Publix once. Like I had this little like entitled thing. I normally on my sandwich get they have this shit called gourmets. It's made by Boar's Head. And it's kind of like a mayo mustard mix with peppercorns in it and stuff like that. It's really good. And I asked for it, and the dude was like, "Oh, this bottle that we have here is empty." And I was like, "You can't just go get some off the shelf?" And he was looking at me like, "What the fuck?" And so he took his gloves off and then went out to the aisle and got some off the shelf and then made my sandwich. I'm thinking like, you know, like pep, like let's go, man. Chop.
Yeah,
like,
hurry this shit up, man. That's what you're getting paid for. You know, somebody told me that at Publix, if you buy your cold cuts, because you know it's right next to the sandwich thing. If you buy like a pound of whatever, that you can bring it right next to and have them make the sandwich out of your cold cuts, and it, you know, and it comes out cheaper or whatever. I don't know, but I've never done that. I will never do that. I'd rather just, you know what I'm saying?
Now, I haven't seen that done like specifically the way you described, but what I have seen somebody do is order a sandwich, but then have them slice all the meat fresh. So, you know, let me get some of this Virginia ham, and then, you know, they slice off a couple of slices. Okay, let me get that maple syrup turkey. You know, they slice some of that shit, and then let me get the cheddar jack cheese, that one right there. You know, with the low sodium. You know?
That's some.
I've seen that before.
That's some entitled shit. That's some entitled shit. Oh man, but you know that's what Publix. You know that's what they do, right? Them motherfuckers try to strive, and they're like the Chick-fil-A of grocery stores,
right?
You know, they want you to have the best experience. Like I walk up and down the aisles, and sometimes I feel like they're, you know, popping out the ceiling to be like, everything okay? You find everything? You looking for something, sir? Like, and you know, I'm just the type of person that I never ask, but you know, sometimes I could probably save myself so much time if when they pop out and they're like, hey, you looking for something? Like, yo, where the fuck is the marshmallow fluff at? Like, which aisle is it? You know what I'm saying? Because I walk up 5 aisles looking for this shit and they just give me the number.
Yeah. And, you know, for me, man, I had an experience at Publix, and it was, I think it was probably the last time I actually drove a car. It was a Christmas Eve, and we needed like something we had forgot for something we was making or whatever. And I went to Publix, and I get out the car, and, you know, back then, like I still could walk, but I was struggling with the walking. And so I get there, and the manager's like, hey, do you need a like the go-kart or whatever? I'm like, no, I'm good. Because back then, like I still wasn't like, you know, like I'm handicapped, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to walk on the cart, you know? And I'm walking on the cart and I'm struggling because, you know, the cart don't got no fucking brakes. So like, even when I'm leaning on it, my weight is making it push away from me, you know, it was just terrible. And so I get all the stuff that I need and I go to check out, and the dude who bagged up my stuff, he was like, you need me to take this to the car for you? And I was like, nah, I got it. And I guess he can look and see like this motherfucker needs help, you know? And he was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, you can go and help me out. And then so he was like, yeah, I got you, you know? And then so we started walking to the cart, and I asked him, I was like, man, I know this is going to sound a little weird, but I was like, do you mind if I put my hand on your shoulder? I'm like having really a hard time like balancing. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And then so you remember how he used to have to do that when I used to walk? And so I put my hand on his shoulder, and then like, he walked me to the car, and then he was like, you go ahead and get in. He was like, you want it in the trunk or the back seat? And I was like, just put it in the back seat. He was like, yeah, go ahead and get in. I'll take care of it, And I'm like, okay, cool. And then, I got in, he put the groceries in and everything like that. And he was like, hey man, take care, have a good Christmas, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I appreciate your help. But if I was at like Walmart or Winn-Dixie or some shit like that, they wouldn't have done no shit like that. Like, put your hand on my shoulder, like, what kind of shit is that?
Get your hand out my pocket, nigga. Definitely not. Definitely not Winn-Dixie shit.
Yeah,
because they still got spots open. But yeah, that's public for you, man. That's public.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they kind of strive for. They strive to be the best. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, to your point, it's just been so busy out. Like cars, traffic is back like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
People are getting called back into work and shit. Companies are calling people back into work, and I've seen like there was an article about Apple where a bunch of employees sent emails to Tim Cook because they felt like they weren't being heard, because they were told they need to come back to the office, and they're unhappy about it. So
yeah,
I suspect that we'll see a lot more of that with companies, and people, and I think we're gonna see a lot more of it, probably soon come.
yeah.
I don't know. Do you think and this is just kind of part of why I think people are gonna have to get back to work and kind of things like that, but do you think the June 30th is the last day for the eviction foreclosure program or whatever? Do you think Biden will extend that again, or do you think that's going to stand?
I think they're going to extend it again because, we're still seeing people collecting like unemployment benefits, regardless if it's folks, who are milking the system or not. But we still have, somewhat high unemployment. There are tons of open jobs out there and things like that. So I think they're going to extend it one more round, maybe probably go like to September, October timeframe. And then you're going to get into the whole, well, now it's winter, do we need to like wait again? So I think it gets extended again. To your point about Apple, they actually had a resolution to that. They decided that they got to come into the office 3 days a week. So I don't know if they if they get to pick the 3 days they want or whatever, but they're going to work from the office 3 days a week. But yeah, I think that to your overall point, that's going to be a big deal because you've gotten people who are used to working from home. You've had people, who have built home offices. I mean, go to Home Depot and try to order something. Everything's on back order. Home Depot, Lowe's, places like that. So people are like, yo, I done put all this fucking money into making this home office, and now you're telling me I got to go back to work. Like, what the fuck,
Right.
So I think it's going to really just depend on the type of business, because like Goldman Sachs, for example, which is an investment banking firm, they told their people they got to be back in the office by tomorrow. So, and for the people who don't want to do it, they were like, you can go work somewhere else. And they told the people they need to be vaccinated. They can't come in the office if they're not vaccinated. And they also went out and went a step further. They didn't say it this way, but they basically were saying, and don't try that I'm not vaccinated shit, so I'm going to keep working from home.
Yeah, you can use your sick time, but once you run out, you're going to have to go somewhere else.
So yeah, I think it's really going to be dependent upon where you work. At my job specifically, they told us last week people can start coming back to the office, but they made it voluntary, and you don't have to like get permission from your manager if you want to do so. So for right now, the office is open, but it's up to you whether you go. In my role specifically, we were 100% virtual before the pandemic, so it's not something I'm concerned about. But I think it's going to be things that people really have to think about. People have built this whole life and work ecosystem around their home, and now they're used to it, and it's going to be tough to get people back in offices.
Yeah, where I live, where I work, we started bringing people back. Don't matter to me because I've already been in in office. I never went from home,
Mhm.
but somebody was telling me a story, not at my company, but someone that works, they was telling me about their family member who was from Virginia, I want to say, and they started to fall on some hard times because their significant other lost their job and shit. So they moved to Florida, but they were working remotely, you
Mhm.
know. So they were in Florida, but now their job is like, hey, you guys got to come back in the office,
Ooh.
So now you're in a fucking pickle. You're in a
Yeah.
fucking situation. But
And I
what
bet
I
that
re-
happens a lot.
oh, I'm sure there's tons of it. But yeah, the reason I ask obviously is, the housing market is crazy right now. I've been out there just peeking at it and the debating on what I'm gonna do.
Mhm.
But they posted a house at the end of my street, right? Just to give you an idea. Um 4.2, they posted at 315K. A lot of people were like, man, that's a great price based on what the market's doing right now here in Florida. Um, and I was like, yeah, well, they're probably looking to get people in a bidding war and that's
Mhm.
how you're getting to get your cash buyer, right? If you post it high or whatever, you might get somebody who's talking financing, and then it doesn't appraise that high. Now it falls through, and you're prolonging your time. Anyway,
Yeah.
long story short, um, they started at 315, they got it off at 370.
Mm.
Like, and it's crazy because they posted it, and the second, all they did is they had a open house 2 days later, and the open house, there was like 60 cars on my street. Like, it was crazy, it was out of control. um and then 2 days later, they finished, the bids back and forth. They finally, the person, I guess the last person pulled out at whatever, 369, 370 was like the
Mhm.
top bid, and they got it off at 370.
Yeah.
So it's crazy what that market is doing. And I've been saying for a year and a half, 2 years now, that trying to get into a bigger spot, but I don't want to sell my spot and be stuck trying to find something reasonable that's not crazily overpriced. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
waiting till June 30th, see what that looks like. And I think that's what a lot of people should do, see what
Yeah.
that looks like, because if Biden does not extend it, you're still talking another 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 months for the banks to catch up to all these people that are behind that haven't
Mhm.
paid in 18 months. But you're going to have those panic buyers that don't want to get caught up by the banks, who don't want their credit to be impacted, that are going to immediately be like, all right, let's throw this bitch up on the fucking market, because we know we can't afford this shit. Small
Yeah.
business owners that their shit went up and under, and now they're working a bullshit job. They're gonna have to get rid of the big place, but they were protected by this. So depending what that looks like is really, I think, where we'll see some changes in this housing market. And yeah, man, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm waiting for, is that June 30th day. And I think that's going to be a huge date. And I think we'll see a lot of change in what that's going to look like, depending on what he
Yeah.
does. And
I
if he
I think you're
doesn't,
right.
then prices go up. So
I think that you're right. Like, if this thing does fall, if they don't extend it after June 30th, and I saw a news story about this topic, and they were saying, like, with the foreclosure and evictions, even though there's these moratoriums where the government is not allowing people to be foreclosed or evicted, um, um, those orders didn't extend to, like, the courts. So landlords have been able to go to court and get the process started. It's just they haven't been able to serve you to have you put out.
right,
So if this thing gets relaxed on June 30th, you can see a lot of people, being put out of homes and apartments or whatever, their condos, etc., like really, really quickly. And that could have a huge change on the market, like you said. And like, thinking about, like, you telling that story about what was happening with the house in your neighborhood, it reminds me of I saw this thing on Twitter like a month ago, and the guy was like, this is how the housing market works. And he had like an apple, and he was like, the guy walks up and he's like, hey, is that apple for sale? And he was like, yeah. He was like, do you mind if I inspect it before I put an offer? And the guy like laughs, and he's like, that's cute. He's like, okay, this is how it's gonna go. He's like, I got this apple for sale. I'm gonna open the bidding up at $5. And the guy's like, $5? And then this other guy comes in, he's like, I'll pay $10 for that apple. Another guy's like, I'll pay 20. And then he's like, $20? You haven't even seen it. And then another guy comes in, he's like, I'll give you $45 for the apple. And the guy's like, 45. What? And another guy's like $60. 60. I gotta have that apple. And he's like
Yeah.
$60 for an apple. He's like, hey man, I'm from California. That's the cheapest apple I've seen in months.
Mm-hmm.
And then the original guy who asked to inspect it, he was like, I'll give you 100. And then he's like, why did I do that? And I was like, yo. And my brother who does he does wholesaling, and I sent him that clip, and he was like, yo, this is exactly how it's going right now. He was like, I mean, houses are they're flying off the market for crazy prices right now,
Yep.
So,
and people aren't even inspecting them. They're just hoping, you know what they see to the naked eye. If they see something major to the naked eye, then they might pull out, or they might hesitate. But like you said, man, that big piece is that part where they said, that's an apple from California. I'm from California. That's the cheapest apple. That's a huge thing. This dude at my job, this house, the dude in California sold a 1,100 square foot little place for like 800 grand, right? And he bought this guy's house at my job is 2,500 square feet. He ended up paying him 420 for it, but you're talking about half price for it. And he only had it posted at like 270, and it ended up going at that 420 mark because those people, not only California but New York, where it's extremely expensive. People are trying to get out of there, and they've been paying crazy amounts of money for shit, so and they're selling high. And if you're selling something at 820 and you're buying at 420, you net 400, whatever you paid for. Maybe you paid 6 at the time when you got it. You're still making 2 off of it, right? So that's what's happening, man. And so, like I said, June 30th, if he extends it, I might put my shit up, see if I can break that.
And then the thing that kind of scares me about this though is that I feel like 2008, or 2006, 2008 time frame when the big crash happened, where you get these home prices that are going through the roof, like out of nowhere, and you got people buying these houses that, like we're looking for a house right now, and like we haven't seen much that was like under 500. And for us, 2-person household, we're like, can we afford that? You know what I mean? And so, you're seeing these houses here in Central Florida that are selling, 480, 500, 615. And I'm like, yo, like I know people in Central Florida aren't making that kind of money for these houses, and so I'm wondering, are they out there getting these adjustable rate mortgages, these adjustable rate interest rates and things like that? And then, we're going to end up in 2008 again when everything crashes,
Yeah. I think, and so that's the other part. Like that's where when I bought my place was when that market crash happened. So I kind of saw how that can happen, and people that are kind of waiting and trying to buy that time. It's gonna be important that your timing is right, because if the market starts to get oversaturated, you're gonna lose that potential equity. Like my place, when we bought it, we ended up getting it for 70 grand less than what it was posted at. In the end, because that market was it was diving, and it was a private seller. So they weren't selling through a bank or anything. It was just a private seller, and they ended up having to come down. So, so yeah, man. So timing is going to be so important, and right now, while it's peaking, is where decisions need to be made. So, keep an eye on that. Watch that space, as VP would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Did you get to watch the Floyd Mayweather fight or at least highlights of it, last Sunday?
No, I didn't.
So so Floyd Mayweather, for those who aren't aware, Floyd Mayweather, greatest boxer of all time in many people's eyes, pound for pound for sure, I think. He's also a very money motivated individual. Extremely money motivated. Hopped into the ring last week for an exhibition match with a YouTube star, Logan Paul. And that happened last Sunday after we recorded, so we didn't really get to talk too much about it. We talked pre-fight, but post-fight it was a little bit different. Let me show you some of the highlights here, and then we can get into it a little better. All right. Hopefully this thing works the way I want it to.
Political is about to begin. Yes. The bell and round one scheduled for 8. It officially sanctioned. I understand that Mayweather versus Paul is actually being sanctioned for please.
So this guy's 200 pounds. It's
Yeah, he
200
got some height on him
pounds,
too.
and he has height on him, so the reach is crazy.
He wasn't built for Vaughn. I'm sorry. Vaughn was for the OG. Shout out to my people out there. And if he gets hit by a Mayweather punch, it'll be as painful as step back. Pause to get out the tongue. There's that famous evasiveness.
I like the color on those gloves Mayweather got on.
Yeah. So the one thing that sticks out to me off top is just all the marketing and promos, right? Cash App
Yeah.
all over the place, DraftKings all over the place. All right.
IDCM,
Thanks,
or
YouTube.
Integrated Data Center
Fuck that up.
Infrastructure Management, is about integrating building management and automation systems.
I tell you, there's no eating on YouTube without them getting. And then if you look at Mayweather's trunks, I don't know if you can see it. I think it says Ethereum on there, which is a cryptocurrency. I think everybody's getting their hands into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, Michael Irvin, some big name people in there. You're not really showing much on this video, but this is kind of what it looked like that night.
Yeah.
You know, you would expect Floyd to get in there, make it quick work, one round, make that money, keep it moving. Because you know this guy is just, while he's big, he's not a boxer. You know, he's not a trained boxer. He probably doesn't take punches. But it was a lot of dancing, man.
Yeah.
A lot of dancing. This is not
like hearing you say that. I was wondering if Floyd was doing kind of like an Ali like rope-a-dope kind of thing, where it's like, this guy's not a trained boxer. Let's get him to go a couple of rounds, and then he starts to get tired, and then I'm gonna start whooping his ass or whatever. Like I remember when I was in the Marines, when I was in Japan, like we used to box sometimes, and that 3 minutes don't seem like a long time, but when you're like exerting yourself like that, man, that shit feels like you've been putting in work, and we used to only do 3 rounds, and I used to be tired as hell anytime I boxed. So I could imagine, and I mean, Logan Paul looks like he's in shape, so I imagine he works out and things like that. But it's different when you're doing the bouncing and swinging and shit like that, and especially we all know Floyd got some of the best defense out there, if not the best, and you're doing a lot of swinging and hitting nothing but air, so you're just exerting yourself for nothing, basically. That
shit's tiring. Definitely tiring. They get to around 5 or so, and that's where you kind of start to see Floyd throw some punches and stuff. But I really just don't feel like Floyd went out there with the intent or the mentality to knock this guy out. It's unfortunate because when you're talking about this could be the greatest of all time, and people are making that argument for the greatest of all time. Granted, he's 44 years old now. You should be able to knock out the average Joe. If I was to get in the ring with Floyd, I would fully expect him to put me to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, no questions. But yeah, and I think it just hurts. I think it hurts his legacy. Floyd, obviously, again, we talked about him being money motivated, right? He changed his name to Money Mayweather, but money motivated. Basically said, my kids can't eat legacy. Like, he put it out there, like, this is what it was.
Yeah.
And not knowing the particulars of the contract, you have to assume that because he did allow this guy to continue and allow this guy to eat rounds, because people won't understand that that's true what happened. He allowed that to take place. There had to be something in the contract that said you need to go this amount of time to get this amount of money, right?
Yeah. So I mean, hearing you talk about it from a legacy standpoint, I almost wonder if we know Floyd went like 50 and 45 and 0, 50 and 0, whatever the record was when he finished like boxing for real, like real boxers, not none of this, Conor McGregor shit or whatever.
50
And
and oh,
I
yeah.
think part of it could be Floyd saying, I got to be careful because if I lose, even though this isn't like a real fight, that shit's going to hurt my legacy. But just doing it, like you said, is hurting the legacy. But, to the point, like Floyd said, my kids can't eat legacy, right? And I saw an interview with him saying like how for the advertisements that was on his trunks, he got paid $30 million for that.
Right.
And so, for him, it's a cash grab, because he knows it's very likely he's not going to lose. And I'm going to go out here and put in, 8 rounds, 3 minutes a pop, so I'm going to go out here for 24 minutes and get paid, 50, 60 million bucks, so it's not a bad deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and you talk about this guy's fought Miguel Cotto, like he's fought guys that hit hard. So I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure he wasn't worried about getting knocked out by Logan Paul,
Yeah.
Granted, he hasn't fought a guy that weighs 200 pounds, so you never know, man. You never know what somebody has behind a punch. 200 pounds behind a punch could put your ass out.
Yeah.
And for the risk that he took there, man, for legacy wise, right?
Yeah.
He could have not he could have knocked him out, or just showed, right? Just show that this isn't a competition. Like there's no competition. Go in there, beat the shit out of him quickly. And even if you need to let it go 6 to 8 rounds, whatever whatever contract, maybe more money as it went on, right? Maybe it was tiered. Like if you go 2 rounds, the payout is this. If you go 4 rounds, this 6. And again, Mayweather being money motivated is like, fuck it, I could stop at 6, but if I go 8, I make another 20 million. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just go ahead and allow this guy to live another 2 rounds. So that's what it seemed like to me. I like seeing the exhibition fights and the not so polished fights. I just don't like seeing it with someone not polished against someone who is extremely polished.
Yeah.
I thought the Mike Tyson, the Tyson and Roy Jones fight was decent, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 old guys, they were polished, but they knew they weren't trying to knock each other out. And then even the Jake Paul, which is his brother, and Nate Robinson, those fights were, it was interesting. And then you had some celebrity stuff that happened this past weekend. You had Lamar Odom, big candy crackhead, fought damn, I forget who Odom fought. It was a little white dude, a singer.
Damn, I feel bad for that guy, man. Like, I mean, not to say that he wouldn't ever do something like this. I mean, I know Ocho Cinco boxed somebody as well.
Yeah.
But like it just seems like such a fall from grace for this dude to be, in the NBA. You're on the Lakers playing with Kobe, making millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
You're dating a Kardashian, a lesser Kardashian, but still, you know what I mean? And
the C series of Kardashians.
And now you're in rehab, and you're at the butt of all these like crackhead jokes, and most people probably see this as, oh, he probably need the money, so he did this shit, and I mean, I don't know what his money situation is, but it just seems like it's just such a fall from grace for this dude, man.
It is. And it was Aaron Carter, matter of fact, and that's what was who he fought. Small white singer or whatever. Like, you look at it like that is a
wasn't he from like Backstreet Boys or something like that?
Something similar. But
or
yeah,
NSYNC or one of those boy band groups.
You just wonder, like, man, if it sucks, man. To your point, man. He played with Kobe. He played on the Heat. He was a big player on the Heat. When he was out there with Caron Butler and those guys. He was Caron Butler played for you guys, right? Or was that with the Lakers? But either way, point is, I mean, it's great to see that he's healthy again. Because shit, motherfuckers thought that he checked out after his little brothel scare. But shit, I mean, that's got to make him feel like untouchable. Got to make him feel untouchable. You see death and you good. But yeah, man, I'm interested to see some more of these. I guess these are like the like a poor man's verses, right?
Yeah.
And the poor man in the sense of less entertaining seeing these things, but it would be good to see some of these guys, especially like the rappers and shit, like the rappers that are beefing and shit. Like if
Yeah.
it ain't real beef, like get in the ring, throw on the gloves, go 3, go 5, um make it happen. So
Most rap beef don't seem legit to me anyway. Like especially thinking, if you grew up when we did and you seen like, you know, 50 Cent and Ja Rule, that's real beef, Tupac and
mhm.
Big, you know what I mean? And now a lot of this stuff, it seems, strategic for record sales, like, oh, I'm gonna say something about somebody, and then, that's gonna get me talked about on the Breakfast Club or on Funk Flex. And then a week later, I'm gonna drop my album, which is gonna make people, go get it because maybe I'm gonna follow up on the diss track after Buddy replies and that kind of thing like that. It just all seems phony and staged to me.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of it is
Yeah,
for sure.
like the
But
last one, like the Drake and Meek Mill thing. Like I even there was times I thought that was kind of staged, and the only thing that made me think that it was real, like when it first started happening, before the whole Meek Mill saying like Drake didn't tweet out his album or whatever. And I thought like maybe Meek Mill was in his feelings, like thinking like something was going on with Drake and Nicki because they were dating at the time, Meek Mill and Nicki. And so maybe that's why he put it out like some passive aggressive type shit. You know what I mean? But but most rap beef like these days, all this shit just seems like it's complete bullshit.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what that was. Oh, now I see what it is. Do you see what it is?
Well,
It's a
oh,
new it's a new
he has
new
risen.
it's a new character, the unlockable character in the video game.
Y'all been on this long? Don't seem like it.
EJ the Savage has joined the building.
Oh,
Yo,
man.
you think Floyd Mayweather should have been able to knock out Logan Paul?
Absolutely.
No.
Of course not. You
The
wouldn't never
man
think.
the man was physically 3 times the size. Sometimes size matters, despite what they tell you.
Size always matters. Size always matters. Shit.
Yeah, he physically wasn't knocking that boy out.
He should have knocked him out. Listen, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Now he caught him with some good shots though.
See,
But Floyd
don't
don't
think-
knock out a lot of people he fights though.
no,
He's not a
but-
knockout
but
artist.
those guys are trained fighters. And
True.
and the thing, what I think is like with this guy, I'm not saying he would have knocked him out with one punch. Was it possible? Probably on the button. If he hit him one on the button, Floyd being a trained boxer, punching all his life, probably could have knocked him out. But I feel like he could have knocked him out with multiple, just kept hitting him, right? He's way faster. Again, he's a trained, but we've seen Floyd, go against some of the greatest boxers ever and be able to kind of see what they're gonna do, see what's coming from them, so clearly he could see what's coming from the fucking plumber. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but
and
Floyd not a knockout artist though. He never has been.
right, he's not a knockout artist for fighters.
No, I'm saying, but
not-
even I get that. Even I'm not talking just even with the train thing, you gotta still factor in size. Like that dude was 3 times Floyd's size. And he could take a punch and Floyd don't get in there and mix it up like that if he wanted to, maybe, but I'm not surprised he didn't knock him out. I'm not surprised.
You're out of your mind if you think he couldn't knock him out. I'm not.
I mean,
surprised he
anybody
didn't
could be
because
knocked out. Anybody could be knocked out. But I just don't think Floyd, size-wise, he was going to knock him out.
I think Floyd could have put him on his ass in the first 3 minutes easily. In that first round, it like being that guy, like he could have came in there. Now, this brings up what VP said. There's a potential there that if Floyd had gotten sloppy trying to do that, he could have gotten knocked out just because this guy is 200 pounds throwing his best. He could have thrown a haymaker, caught him, knocked him out, put him to sleep. And that would have looked extremely bad for Floyd.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's,
so maybe,
And
You
Floyd
know,
never takes those type of chances in any of his fights. That's why he doesn't knock a lot of people out. The last person Floyd knocked out was Victor Ortiz, and that was when
oh
Victor
yeah,
Ortiz had his hands down. So
but he cleaned up Ricky Hatton too.
he ain't knock him out.
He did knock out Ricky Hatton. He put him in the what's that called? Turnbuckle? I guess in wrestling it's called turnbuckle, right?
I don't remember him knocking out Ricky Hatton, but Ricky Hatton was also, to me, a shell of himself at that point. I think Manny the Juice Man Pacquiao ruined Ricky Hatton's career. I just wanted to come out that Manny Pacquiao is juicing. They're talking right now with the Errol Spence fight that nobody's doing the VADA testing, the US commission testing for drugs. So, you know, I never will like Manny Pacquiao. I think he took steroids and never got caught.
Stop Asian hate.
I mean, I never understood why they don't have like a uniform testing regime in boxing to begin with. Like these guys are negotiating what tests they get and all this kind of thing like that. They should just go with one standard, like use like the Olympic test or something like that, and like let that just be it, you know?
Yeah, and that's the VADA testing that professional athletes are doing, especially in the boxing realm. And a lot of people have been getting more into it lately to, be on the up and up. And the controversy right now with this Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao fight is that it's not being talked about. Errol Spence has submitted himself to it several times, but Manny Pacquiao is seemingly reluctant this time around. And he's done that in the past several thousand times. Even that was a big controversy with Floyd and him, and people were taking Manny Pacquiao's side only because they don't like Floyd, but the writing was on the wall. This dude, Manny Pacquiao, did not want to test, and he's still doing that to this day. So
that's what I said. Me and my barber used to go back and forth with it all the time when he used to be like, Floyd scared of Pacquiao. I'm like, Floyd says he's ready. He just wants Pacquiao to take the test. Like, I don't understand like why. Like, if you clean, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, there's millions of dollars on the line. Like, take the test. Let's keep it moving.
Clean, dog. Let's go. But and Manny Pacquiao, I mean, the writing for me was always on the wall. This dude jumped up like 5 or more weight classes, got bigger, stronger, faster, and never submitted himself to drug testing. So I'm like, for me, the writing's on the wall because he was terrible as a featherweight. No, he wasn't a great fighter at all. And he jumped up classes and got bigger, stronger, faster. I was just like, nah, he's been juicing.
Those are just ancient Chinese secrets.
He's not Chinese.
He's Filipino.
Filipino, right? Yes.
That doesn't mean he don't got a cousin.
Wow.
What?
You're trash.
Oh. Anyway, Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler is a hero, man. Jay Cutler's my hero.
Yes.
So it's alleged that he has 130 million. We're not gonna spend a lot of time on this. This is gonna be quick because I'm a dick. Jay Cutler has allegedly 130 million in the bank, maybe more. His wife signed a prenup, and then she left him and said she wanted a divorce because he's lazy. And then she asked for $5 million in return, so she could get a new house and live comfortably after their split. She then began, started a business, and said business is worth about 15 million now. And Jay Cutler is asking for half of that. It's my guy. It's my guy, man. That's my guy, man. Cutler, the only guy that could smoke cigarettes on the sideline, go out, play 4 downs, come back, get an insulin shot, eat some Snickers because he was diabetic. And then now this is like Jay Cutler's black. Jay Cutler is a black man. He's a hero. What do you guys think of that? EJ, what do you think? I know a VP thinks.
You know what I think, man.
VP wants him stricken away.
He deserves half, man. You know what I mean? She was not a millionaire when she met him. He risked life and limb out there in the NFL, probably gonna have lifelong ailments and aches for it. You know, propped her up and elevated her. She wants a divorce just because she can. And why you asking me for $5 million when you got bread? No, I want half of what I invested in. Since you didn't have a prenup, that's mine. Give it here. Go Jay
Mhm.
Cutler. Go Jay Cutler. Better now than you were as a quarterback. God damn it.
It's true.
So for me, let me first start off and say, holy shit, Jay Cutler made $130 million in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Don't disrespect
Talk.
Jay like that.
I mean, I knew he got us for 10 that one season he spent with us, but fuck, 130? Shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Bears
Um,
paid him nicely.
Bears paid him everything.
damn. But nah, I don't have a problem with this story, man. You know, the one thing I want, well, no, the prenup is for before they got married though. So I was wondering if that would play a factor, but it doesn't. But yeah, and here's the thing for me, right? She started this company when they got married, more than likely using money that he made from his earnings from NFL endorsements, whatever, right? And so I don't see why he shouldn't get some of it. You know, I said the same thing when Russell Simmons and what's the girl, the kitty cat shit purses and the
Baby
Asian
fat.
lady,
Baby fat.
baby fat. There you go. I'm like, she didn't
Marley
start that
Simmons.
shit. He, he did that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I don't know why he didn't get some of that shit. So I think there's nothing to see here.
She was the biggest gold digger in life.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
People
Stop
want
Asian hate today, EJ. But no, but Kristen Cavallari, which is Jay Cutler's woman, even if he didn't fund it completely, because she was on MTV years ago. She was on Laguna Beach, one of those reality shows. So I'm sure she had a little bit of dough here. Definitely his name, definitely his name, definitely his networking, the ability to network because he's an NFL star. She has opportunity, she has access to different things that the normal everyday person may not have access to, where someone could have started the exact same company and it might have become a $500,000 company versus a 15 million, because she has
Right.
those ins and that access. So you know you built it off my back, you built it off my name. Give me mine. That's all I'm saying. I don't need it. I don't need it, but you leaving. You know what I'm saying? And we know it gets nasty in America with divorce. It gets nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see our boy Gary Owen. You see that article I posted in there when he went on Wendy Williams?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Wendy shot her shot.
He basically is saying,
Yeah, Gary Owens.
yeah, yeah. He deflected that, I'm sure. But he's saying, I can't, he's basically saying he can't tell us everything, but he's saying there's some new developments coming from that, that divorce situation. And he dispelled a lot of what his ex-wife was saying. And I think, we're gonna see something come out of that pretty soon.
Mhm.
He
And she
sounded like
replied again. She replied again after that.
he sounded like a guy that was pretty confident that he had nothing to hide. What did she say?
Same type of shit. Oh, I'm not the type to put our stuff in public, but you keep bringing me here. Like, bitch, then stop. Stop replying. Stop putting it on social media. But just basically same shit. He's not supporting his family. He's blah 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 blah. So bunch more of that, and it sucks, right? It sucks because in it's a hard it's a hard decision to make when you're supporting in this case, because you want to support a black woman, right? She's a black woman, he's a white man. You want to support black women, a woman. That's what we've been talking about for the last year. Black women are not supported as the way they should. um you know uh and so now you're in a situation where you want to be on her side, but this man is telling you, like, listen, I got receipts. And I just think, I don't know, man. this whole public shit for these stars and these celebrities is just a bit much, man. You gotta, maybe that's what people need to start looking at instead of looking at the prenups. Look at the NDAs. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's talk about if for whatever reason this thing goes sideways. Listen, who gives a fuck about the money and splitting that shit? Because we're doing good. Let's talk about not putting dirty laundry out there. Let's talk about not trying to fucking slander and kill somebody's career. Because ideally, you think about a Gary Owen, right? Gary Owen makes his money off of a lot of probably majority black supporters because of the movies he's in, because of the company he keeps, right? In addition to, right, he was attached to a black woman, a black family, and got supported and invited to a picnic and stuff like that, as we would call it. But it's really easy for her to just be like, she could come out and really ruin this guy's career just by saying, yeah, he don't really support black people, which is one of the things she tried to say. Oh, he's searching for, a black friend group and blah, 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 and whether it's true or not, like, you spent however long together, you got kids together, you got a family together. Why try to bring this man down? Why try to ruin his career, which is what's going to help you continue to live, that life of lavish based on, whatever the judge rules.
Yeah, my problem with these divorces, man, especially like when it comes to celebrities, is that I feel like one side is always asking for too much, right? Like, think about like Dr. Dre's wife asking for $20,000 a month for cell phone.
Right.
Yo,
Bitch,
I was calling home $20,000 a month. I was calling home from fucking Iraq. I didn't spend 20 grand. Like, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? like that's like shit like that is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? And then like the monthly alimony for life and like that kind of stuff to me is just straight bullshit. Like, I don't mind you getting a settlement, but some of this shit just seems like it's insane. Like what the ask is, and I don't know if it's maybe one of those things. Let me ask for something outrageous so that way I can get something good. But I think if you start off at a decent place, we're probably going to end up there. You know what I mean? But some of these people just go right off the bat just asking for way too fucking much, man.
Shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
The common theme here is in these divorces that, where the man is being taken to town, you see this happen by the women. And I don't care what anyone says, you have to logically look at it and say, did you just get with this person for the monetary value that you might be able to walk away with at some point? Mm-hmm. And when we see it reversed and Mary J. Blige's husband is asking for alimony and she has to now pay, people are up in arms. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand it. If it is one way, then why not praise that situation? People were saying, people don't notice, man. They were saying this guy is less than a man, all these other things. For what? For for doing the same thing women do when they're in celebrity marriages. And I can't blame these guys that go into these situations with prenups and all of that kind of stuff. And it kind of hurts the whole theme of marriage at the end of the day, because this is almost like, it's almost assuming that any celebrity couple with money involved is going to break up and somebody's going to ask for money unless the other person has money as well. So, I think these guys need to start understanding who they're bonding with. These celebrity couples like J-Lo, like the only time J-Lo really had to come out with some bread was when she had the dancer guy. But when she's with another rich person, they break it off and they move on. So, you got to kind of, those guys got to start to pick people, unfortunately, that got a little money of their own.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this, and if I was rich and single, I would never get married ever. Like, any person I was dating, I would let them know, like, from the jump, like, yo, if you're expecting this thing to end in marriage, you need to find somebody else, because it ain't happening. You know what I mean? Right? And like she'd have to be on the clock. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you can't stay over here more than 3 nights a week. Like, you need to have like a travel toothbrush and shit, but you can't leave nothing here. You can't get no mail here, no phone calls, because I don't want it to be 2 years from now. You start talking about, oh, this is why I was living, and I'd be in that who was it Le'Veon that had that situation, or not Le'Veon? It was fuck man, my guy from the Bills. He ain't on the Bills no more.
Not Marshawn, not
Marshawn. Isn't he with Tampa now?
I can't think
of his goddamn name now. It's gonna come to me.
It's treacherous.
Surprised Steve didn't know that. He usually on that kind of shit.
It's treacherous, man.
Not if he's on the Bills. That's y'all division. But yeah, it's just nasty, man. It's nasty and dirty, and but yeah, maybe we do need to stop the gender roles. Then we won't have this problem, right?
But gender, I mean, I'm telling you, gender, and it's funny, man. Gender only really matters when it's not the man. And
gender only matters when it meets well, that's true, I think, in your point, EJ, but I think it also when it fits a narrative.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. And I get why society feels that way, especially about white men, because they've been the most dominant of everything throughout the entire history of existence, right? Mm-hmm. But at some point, right is right. Right is right. It just is what it is.
Yeah,
and because
it was Shady McCoy, by the way, I was talking about.
Oh yeah.
You said you went to the Bills, not the Eagles,
right? Right.
Oh man,
because he was tearing up Miami at, I guess, some point.
No surprise. Yeah. So what's going on in the on the political front, VP? Anything there?
This past week, Kamala went to Central America. Joe Biden put her in charge of trying to get this migrant crisis worked out. So she visited Guatemala and Mexico to try to talk about what can be done in those countries to make people want to stay home and not try to come to the United States. She caught a lot of shit from in that speech which she gave, where she said, if you're thinking about making that journey, don't come. She caught stuff from the right, people saying she didn't go far enough. She caught shit from the left of people saying, what the fuck? People are these places are dangerous. People are trying to escape and all that kind of thing like that. At the end of the day, I mean, she's the vice president. She's sworn an oath to uphold the laws of this country. She can't be going over there and saying, yeah, just come immigrate illegal. It's all good. What the fuck do people expect? You know what I mean?
If you come at 3:22 a.m., everyone's on break.
Right. So that's what was kind of going on with her. Yesterday, Kamala actually participated in the Pride Parade in DC. That was trending all over Twitter for a while. A lot of people in the gay community were happy about that, especially given the last VP was Pence, a guy who, signed legislation promoting gay conversion therapy. Biden is overseas right now for the G7 that's happening in the United Kingdom. They've been in meetings pretty much the last 3-4 days with that. And then once he leaves there, he's going to be headed to Geneva, where he's going to have a sit down summit with Putin. So we'll see what comes out of that. Still going back and forth with Joe Manchin to try to get this voting rights bill passed. And in voting rights news, the Attorney General gave a speech this week saying that they're doubling the size of the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, and they're going to start looking at some of these voting rights bills that have been passed in the states and taking action where they think they can, get some of these things knocked out or knocked down. And then speaking of, Steve saying when people take breaks and things like that, in Oregon, the Oregon State Legislature expelled a Republican member this week on Thursday. Oregon basically had their own January 6th, where you had a bunch of right-wing Trump supporters who stormed the Capitol. And yeah, for those watching on YouTube on the live stream, there's a picture of Kamala and the second gentleman, her husband Doug Emhoff, at the Pride Parade in DC. And then you obviously can't even see the Secret Service agents. These guys are blending in so well.
Stupid. You are stupid. The proverbial ex-military I'm a cop now. Sunglasses on your left and right.
Right. Like like Steve was talking about the guy in the maroon shirt with the rocket launcher strapped on his around his fries.
Exactly. Cargo
Yeah.
pants, soft shoes for him to be up on his feet, but still be mobile. Yeah. I mean, why?
But
I mean, the sunglasses are always a dead giveaway.
yeah,
Always.
But so this guy from Oregon, he basically let in a bunch of the Capitol was on lockdown, and he went and basically opened the door for these people to storm the Capitol. And he tried to say like, oh, I didn't know that that's what was going on out there. I was just leaving to go to lunch, and I didn't know that that's what was happening. And then the media ended up surfacing this video where this guy was literally giving a tutorial to these people saying, hey, if you go to the West Gate and if you dial this number, I'm not saying whose number this is, but let's just say you dial 407-555-1234, and you call or send a text message and say, hey, I'm at the West Gate. Maybe, I'm not saying this will happen, but maybe somebody might come and open the door. I don't know. Who knows? And and then it turns out the phone number he gave out was his cell phone number when he said, if you call 555-1234, and so they kicked him out, and the vote was 59-1. The one vote was his vote, and they expelled him from the Oregon State Legislature. So, I mean, while it does seem like most of these Republicans have lost their mind with this whole, stop the steal and insurrection shit, at least these Republicans in the Oregon State Legislature seems like they still are holding on to sanity. So
wait, what? You're giving
yeah.
Republicans? You're giving Republicans a good job here?
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them. They did the right thing there. When right is right.
Wow.
And then on the final front, more of a story for you guys. It is day 144 of the Biden administration, and still nothing on student loan relief. Elizabeth Warren is ratcheting up the pressure. So is Chuck Schumer in the Senate. So I think this thing is going to come to a head soon, but still no action so far.
Listen, they ain't never getting any money from me anyway, so I'm getting food.
Like, yo, I get extension or what was this shit called? I don't even know.
Deferment.
Yeah, defer my shit. Defer it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that shit is bogus. Anyway.
Niggas
gonna make me mad.
Unemployment insurance, but don't want to cook. Never mind. Never mind. We don't even gotta start that one. All right. Thanks, VP, for that polita minute. NBA playoffs, man. The real quick here, we can get into some sports stuff. We haven't done much of that on this episode, but last episode was sports heavy, so balancing it out, right? The Clippers came out last night, made a big move against Utah. They were down 0-2 in the series, looking like they could potentially get run up out of the Western Conference. And they came out. Playoff P showed up, 31 points. Kawhi did his thing. I think he went 35 last night, 35-9 or some shit, some crazy shit. Playoff P went 31-5, something like that. Anyhow, and the one thing that stuck out big last night is Donovan Mitchell left the game in the fourth quarter late on a no contact, just a plant on his right ankle, which was, his right ankle's been bothering him for, the whole season. I mean, he missed something like 30 games or something like that earlier in the season because of that. So that could be a huge difference maker. Sad to see, man. I hope he makes it through that because, he was looking like he was going to dominate this playoffs, man, this Western Conference playoffs. He's going to do what people expected from, or have expected or seen rather, from LeBron in the past and expect from a Dame Lillard and these types of guys. So hopefully he's healthy, but where do you guys stand on the Western Conference front? We have those guys. Clippers have now brought it to 2-1. And then the Denver series, I want to say, let me pull it up here just to be clear. Phoenix is up 3-0 on Denver. Denver was my pick coming out of the West, but Phoenix is looking like a well-oiled machine, man. What do you guys think on that Western Conference front?
On the Clippers, man, I said this last week. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get, right? And I saw on my Twitter today, people were saying like, oh, reemergence of playoff P. This series has changed now, and it's like, like my uncle used to say, the sun shines on the dog's ass every now and then. So
What was that
so
one about the bridge making again?
No, it don't apply here, but you can build 100 bridges, but if you suck one dick, you'll always be a cocksucker. So, but yeah, I mean, you don't know what team you're gonna get, right? And I don't think that the Clippers are back in it. Yeah, series wise, 2-1. You're back in it. We got to see what happens game 4. But when you look at the level of play, I still don't think the Clippers are going to win this series, man. Now with Mitchell going down, that could make a huge difference. We'll have to see what happens in game 4. But the Clippers team is just too, they're hot and cold too often. And I don't know, man.
I think Phoenix is, you got to put your money on Phoenix. They're ousting the league MVP. They're ousting Denver, and they're up 3-0. Like, I mean, they're pretty much probably gonna sweep these guys. You know what I mean? And they're gonna coast into the next round with two teams, one that's inconsistent with the Clippers and reliant on Kawhi, and then the other that might be just as good, but their star might be injured. So I think you gotta think Phoenix is coming out, and that's big. Because if they're the West representatives in the finals, how are they going to match up with whoever comes out in the East? And we know it might be likely Brooklyn, but I don't know. Who knows, man? Philly, and not to switch from the West, but I want Philly to win because I have to. I need them to beat Atlanta, and I don't want Brooklyn to win. But Ben Simmons, man, shit, he's such a liability offensively. It is. You always killed him, Steve, and I mean your light skin hate. I thought that's what it was, but this guy offensively, Christ, is bad.
Yeah,
he's terrible. He's terrible. He's so wishy washy.
And it's crazy because he seemed like he was like when he first came in the league, like he was getting ready to be like the next star, Dude,
they were saying that he had everything to be the next LeBron. Like,
yeah,
he said he had all tangibles.
And you watch him play, and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And it's kind of like I said, last week, where when I asked the question, what is this guy doing in the off season? It seems like he's not putting another tool in a tool belt, and all these star players, they usually add something in the offseason, whether it's a post up, extending their jump shot from whatever range to a new range, adding a 3-pointer, a big man adding like the sky hook and things like that, and this guy, he just seems to be the same player year after year.
I think they've said, some of his teammates have said, like, I think with him it's a mental thing. Because some of his teammates have said, like, yo, we've seen this guy put work in. We've seen this guy shoot in practice, etc. I think when it comes to games, he lacks confidence and he abandons it very early. And I think now he kind of has to go with what he's been doing for them to win, which is to just play defense and then get easy buckets when I can and facilitate. I think that's what he has to do at this point. And I think at some point, maybe he will try to work on getting some confidence and doing something different. But I think he just lacks confidence because he'll jack them up, but they don't fall. And, they
that's
don't
interesting.
fall.
It's interesting you say that with the potential lack of confidence. Do you think that's because he's light skinned?
Oh my god.
Yes.
Y'all act like It's Drake season, man. It's Drake season. Drake, Drake. Them.
Steve swear he light skinned, bro. You're not light skinned, bro. Like you're brown.
Not at all.
You're not light skinned, bro. He be like us light skinned dudes. No, 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 no.
I'm mocha latte. That's light. Listen, man. Phoenix is up 3-0. They look crazy poised at this point. Devin Booker looks great. Putting on for us light skins. Chris Paul's looking like the veteran, the ageless wonder for us. I like that. Jokic is doing what he can, man. I mean, the other night he went like 30, 20, and 14 or some shit. Like he had 20 boards, 10 offensive, 10 defensive. Like you can only do but so much. You know what I'm saying? So he's doing what he could from a Denver standpoint. I think Phoenix gets that series. I think we'll see Phoenix, and I do feel like the Clippers are gonna click right now. This is really Kawhi, man. This is really Kawhi, and I don't know how. Nobody knows what this guy says behind closed doors because you don't know what he says in front of those doors. But he's got to get in there and tell these guys, listen, man, buckle the fuck down, and get it done. Like maybe he needs to go grab Paul George by the throat and say, listen, you need to start. You need to play. He's been sloppy as fuck. Like Paul George has been super sloppy lately. It's crazy. It's a big loss for them. They lost Ibaka. It's been announced that he's out for the season because for the rest of the series, the playoffs, because he had to get surgery. So that's huge for them. That's a loss. Marcus Morris is gonna have to play a part there and fill that spot. So I think we do see the Clippers and Phoenix together. I don't know that Utah is going to be able to pull it together, especially if Donovan Mitchell is anywhere less than 85-90%. That's a huge loss, and they don't have Conley. Like they're too injured, man. Jordan Clarkson's trying, but from the guard position, they don't have it. But I want to talk real quick before we get into the East, as we talk about the West, and we're talking about Donovan Mitchell. We talk about regularly and frequently how impactful LeBron has been and how he can open doors and stuff like that. So LeBron, when he was in Miami, had a trainer. This guy, I followed him on Instagram. He was like,
I follow him too.
Yeah, he was a fairly new guy to sports fitness and stuff like that, and he blew up because he had LeBron, and because LeBron was such a freak, he got additional people, D Wade, stuff like that.
Is this the white kid?
Yeah, it's a white dude.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting to is we know D Wade is now partial owner of Utah, right? And so last night, and this guy trains D Wade as well.
David Alexander's his name.
Yeah, David Alexander. So last night, when Donovan Mitchell hurt his ankle and ended up back on the bench, this guy was in his ear. So he's got a gig either with him, right? Either contracted with Mitchell or with Utah. And that all bubbled up from just being under LeBron's umbrella. You know what I mean? Because before that, nobody really knew this guy, at least not largely.
Mm-hmm.
So just the impact in that LeBron has had and putting people on and stuff like that is great.
Well, we saw that, and we talked about that with just association with just Brian Windhorst, who this motherfucker just was covering LeBron in high school, local beat writer, nobody, and just because he was one of the first people to write on LeBron and interview LeBron and all of that, this guy has now become an NBA insider.
Mm-hmm.
Dude has never, and it pisses me off with sports media mostly because so many of these people have an opinion and they never played sports in any capacity. And it's just amazing because we don't take medical advice, from Steve. You know what I mean? We listen to Dr. Fauci. We listen to Sanjay Gupta. We listen to Dr. Oz. The sports media is the only place. I mean, some people listen to Dr. Oz. I mean, you don't even like CNN, so moving on. But most people tend to listen to experts in that field. And, to be an expert, you got to practice, right? And sports media is the only place, like one of the only places where people can make a living career off of being experts on something they've never done.
Yeah.
And LeBron and his impact in getting people there. I mean, Brian Windhorst, white privilege at its finest. At its finest.
No doubt. Because that, never mind. Never mind. I got to start catching myself.
Nah, you're absolutely right though, EJ, man. And to Steve's overall point, because this guy is a trainer that nobody, I'm not saying that he didn't have clients, right? But a lot of people didn't know this guy outside of the Miami area where his facilities at, right? Whoever his clients were that had memberships there. He starts training LeBron. Other athletes are like, yo, if this is where LeBron is going, this guy must be good. So I'm gonna go there. You follow him on IG and he's training, football players, baseball guys, other NBA guys, and then like Steve just said, now you see him on the sideline, with the Jazz and stuff like that. And it's crazy like how just having an association like that can put you on. And then to EJ's point about Brian Windhorst, which he's made plenty of times, is 100% correct. And his overall point about how, people who know nothing about sports, it's funny. Like I remember, they like total Monday morning quarterback. I'll be watching ESPN on Monday and you'll see like some sports journalist guy there who's like, you got to run the option in that situation. And it's like, who you coached? Like it's one thing if you got, Herm Edwards, Tiki Barber, somebody like that, who's like, yeah, in that play, I think you got to go with the option play because of da. But this guy is just some dude who writes about these things. It's like, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Skip Bayless.
Yeah, you're seeing the difference
worst.
in that at all levels, right? You think about a Joe Buck and think about a Tony Romo, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you get a guy in there who knows the game, who played the game, that's talking and calling and can see the plays, as obviously a quarterback generally should be able to read defenses, and stuff like that. You see the difference, where you got a Joe Buck that's like, oh, he threw the ball. And you're like, we saw that. You know what I'm saying? That was a bad pass. Yeah, we could see that, versus, what you're getting from a Tony Romo and other guys that have played the game that get in there. And when you hear Shannon Sharp, right? I don't like Shannon Sharp. I hate Shannon Sharp. But when he talks about, when he talks about the injuries and stuff, and I don't hate him as a person. I hate him as I guess we could call him, a talking head, right? But when he's talking about injuries and he's talking about the effect that stuff has on your body and bouncing back and stuff like that, there is some knowledge to be had there. He has some value there. He's added value in that sense, right? There's other places where, which is the reason I don't like him in other spots, but that is good to hear. If you had just Skip and Stephen A, you never really got that from them, right? When it was Skip and Stephen A. You don't get that now from Skip and from Stephen A and
Max Kellerman.
Yeah,
I mean, I could at least appreciate that Stephen A played basketball at one point in life, whether he was good or not. I can appreciate that. But you got guys like Colin Cowherd, like I can't stand that guy. You talking about Monday morning quarterback, he makes the most outlandish assessments and statements, and it's like, dude, you've never played a damn thing in your life. Yeah. Joy Taylor is way more informative than he is. And the sad part about her,
she's informative, right?
No, but she does know what she's talking about a lot of times. And the bad part about it is she's just there. Like she's just there to hear him rant and contribute. And it's just, we want to talk about, we don't talk about supporting women in that aspect. Nobody's saying nothing in that aspect. Like that right there is a clear example of a woman that needs her own show apart from this guy, because she's just wasting her talent there. You know what I mean? Wasting the talent. But it's interesting. It's interesting. But yeah, LeBron, power of LeBron. Definitely great. On and off the court, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, shit. I mean, you look at what's his man's name? Maverick Carter. Like there's a kid from the block. You know what I mean? Like people he's looked at now as being like this great businessman or whatever, but
Mhm.
It's a guy from the block with LeBron.
LeBron
Yeah.
took his
And,
homie.
and his other homie, the one who's the agent, Rich Paul.
Yeah.
These
But
are
you
just
have to,
homies from the block.
and you have to think that these guys, LeBron's ethic when it comes to, his work ethic on the court had to rub off, or he made them, right, have that same work ethic when it came to becoming a master at the craft that they're in, right? They would have never had these opportunities. They probably would have never been able to go to college and get whatever, training that they would have needed to be this good at the jobs that they're doing. Obviously, when you have that kind of money behind you, it's hard to fuck it up, but to make it that much better, that much greater, these are just opportunities they wouldn't have had, and when you're seeing this guy and he's got that ethic towards a sport, I I can't see that they wouldn't have went and had that same type of work ethic towards mastering their craft and what they do on their side of things. So
And Steve, to that point that you made, like Maverick Carter, he got LeBron like on the whole thing, like when LeBron got with Blaze Pizza. He's the one who got LeBron to walk away from McDonald's to go to a startup pizza place. You know what I mean? And when they talked about that, LeBron still had, I think he said he had like 15 million left on that contract. He got him to walk away from $15 million to get with a startup that he now has an ownership stake in, and has probably made quadruple, even more. Who knows how much money he's gonna make off that Blaze Pizza deal, given how big that thing could get. And I think he owns like 10-15% of it.
Yeah, it's huge. Blaze is already doing huge things.
Right. But I mean, but it's not like he walked away from like, Tootsie Rolls.
Right.
Like he walked away from McDonald's. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And so that just kind of shows you, like, even though those guys are just the homies from the block, like them going out there and mastering the craft to get to that level to where you can tell LeBron, like, yo, yeah, McDonald's cool, man. We gotta step away from that. We got bigger shit coming up.
Yeah, and shout out to LeBron for paying it forward with his homies, man.
Yeah, that's enough.
Steve said that last week, though. Even though Steve's one of the biggest LeBron haters on earth, he said off the court. He said, off the court, LeBron, is he does his thing.
He's a GOAT off the court for sure.
I don't think I'm the biggest LeBron hater.
You're one of them.
Yeah, if you're not one, maybe you're 1A.
Let's call it a critic. Call it critic instead of hater. All right. Eastern Conference, Brooklyn, Milwaukee continue today. Brooklyn's up 2-1.
Let's go, Milwaukee.
That's a 3 o'clock game. And then so the Phoenix game is today as well. But Philly and ATL tomorrow. Philly's leading that series. They're back in the driver's seat at 2-1, where they should be. They should have been all along. What are you guys looking like for the East? You think it's going to be who you think is going to be in that next round?
Philly
next round,
Brooklyn. Philly and Brooklyn.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Philly and Brooklyn. I mean, Milwaukee showed a flash of light, even though that was a really low scoring game. I think the final was like 87, 84, something like that. On that game 3. And Milwaukee didn't particularly shoot well, but at the same time, like, you're not going to hold that Brooklyn team to under 100 points like that. I mean 84, like, come on. So I really think it still will be Philly, Brooklyn. But if Milwaukee can get on a roll, I think they still can get this series, especially with no Harden. Is it likely? No. Is it gettable? I think it's possible.
I know I'm pulling for it because I don't want Brooklyn to win a damn thing.
Same here.
Yeah, I don't think Milwaukee can beat Brooklyn with or without Harden. I got not in 7 in a series, in a game or two maybe, but in a series now. Brooklyn is just, Kevin Durant is just too polished. Like, this guy off injury, averaging 30 plus points, untouchable, shots from wherever he wants. He gets whatever shot he wants. And then you got Kyrie, who you got to give it to Kyrie. This guy brings street ball to the league. A lot of these guys that have that ability kind of mask it a little bit. Like, you saw John Wall do it here and there in bursts. Kyrie is trying to break ankles every time up the court if he's running, the ball, if he's handling the ball. And, I like watching him play, and it just makes it a whole different dynamic. And these guys just can't keep up with him. I think it's going to be Brooklyn, Philly, and I think we need Brooklyn, Philly because those are clearly the two best teams. I think they might be the two best teams left in the playoffs right now.
And Steve, and to kind of connect the last topic to what you're talking about now is to what EJ said, right? Did you guys see when that journalist asked KD after the game, did you ever expect to be this good when you came back from injury? And KD was like, is that a serious question? Like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, come on, dog. Like, you know what I mean? But here you have somebody who probably don't know shit about shit, and you ask the guy who is one of the best players on the planet, like, did you expect to be this good? Like, come on, bro. What the fuck are you talking about, dog?
Yeah. Or anybody that just has that strong mentality, right? If you have a lot of, and the biggest piece that I always talk about LeBron is just his mental strength, right? Mental toughness. And thank goodness he's never really had a major injury, so he hasn't had to deal with it. But I can imagine that it's easy for somebody who doesn't have the mental toughness of a KD or some other guys that might blow out their Achilles. And everyone, as soon as an Achilles goes, what's the first thing you say? People are
He's
never
done.
the same when they come back. Nobody
Mhm.
comes back from an Achilles, right? You always hear that. So you got to be able to be that guy to be like, what are you talking about? I'm KD, nigga. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back, and I might come back better,
Bitch.
bitch. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, man, I want to see Philly. I want to see the Philly Brooklyn game. You guys think the last thing here, Phoenix? You think they're gonna get the sweep today on Denver?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I
then
think
to
so.
your question that you asked last time, VP, do you think if they get that time off because Utah and LA are 2-1 right now in Utah's favor, and that probably could go 7. We're talking about probably another week before they see each other.
I
You
think
think that
Chris Paul is the X factor.
Yeah.
He's been healthy for the first time in the playoffs, and this guy we know what he does when he comes to a team, obviously, and he brings that focus and that mental toughness to a team that keeps them going. And I think he's the X factor. He's the player coach. He's dominant. He's gonna take over if he has to. So I think them having time off won't hurt him at all. Not
I,
this
I
team.
totally agree with that. That's exactly where I was going to go, is that having a guy like a Chris Paul who is like your floor general, he's been there, he's seen that, you know what I mean? This guy is a what, 13, 14, no, actually as long as I think he's what, 15, 16 years now in the league, something like that.
Just
Years.
about as many as LeBron, I would think.
Yeah, so this guy is not gonna let them fuck around and not be ready. So I don't think the time off will be a factor for them. For them, it actually will be good because it allows him to get that rest. Chris Paul, I mean, and be ready to come out there for the conference finals.
Yeah, indeed. He was drafted in 05, so yeah, 16. This is 16th year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
So
guys seen the shit Le'Veon Bell said recently?
about Andy Reid,
Yeah.
I did
I
see
saw that
that.
he said he wouldn't play for him, but I don't like, what's the context behind it.
He's a fucking idiot, pretty much.
Yeah, he didn't give any context behind it. I think, we know Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell thinks he is the best thing since churn butter. Like, this guy fucking, and because he didn't get the burn that he probably felt he wanted. That's where his frustration is, man. Like, I mean, these guys made it, and maybe he felt like he could have been a difference maker in the Super Bowl. I don't know, right? He didn't really go into detail, but I don't take anything from him because his credibility is extremely low.
Yeah.
He was a great player in Pittsburgh. He probably could have been a great player with the Jets if they had used him better in the passing game.
No.
Probably not as
Yeah,
good as
in the
he was
passing
in
game, yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But he's declined at this point, and I don't know that he holds the value at the running back position because people are used to that stutter step. That stutter step was something different, but now you got other backs doing that, and now you got to put your nose down and go up the gut, or you got to go outside. And he's not as fast anymore because he's older. To get outside, never really was that fast to get outside. So I
That
think he's done, and he's just
yeah,
trying to maybe get a contract somewhere.
that running style he had, even I've been watching him since he was at Michigan State, and that running style he's had to me never made any sense. And I think the Pittsburgh scheme and their offensive line and the fact that they had wideouts made it easy for him to get away with that bullshit. But then you're out the league. You know, people are faster. What we got to remember is that the league gets faster every year.
Yeah.
You know, guys get, you draft guys that are more physically talented every year. So then you come back to the Jets where there were times, you were running the ball and you're doing that bullshit and you're not getting nothing. You know, we got Frank Gore, we got other guys getting 5, 6, 7 a clip because they're hitting the hole. You're sitting here stutter stepping, and linebackers now run 4.4s. This shit's not, this is, what I mean? When you were doing this, it was a different league, even though it wasn't that long ago. Linebackers now are running faster than you. So now you're stutter stepping through the hole. Now you're giving them time to catch you. Then you go to Kansas City thinking that they're going to use you. Like if Andy Reid can't find a way for you to eat, the problem is you, homeboy.
Yeah.
You're
Especially since Andy Reid is a passing quarterback, running backs that catch passes thrive in Andy Reid's offense. So if he doesn't think that you were the guy to do that, there's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a problem.
I mean, and I think EJ's point is spot on, man. Is that when he having that time off that hurt, and I agree. I think that Le'Veon was right for what he was asking for in Pittsburgh. Saying, hey, I do all of this work on the offense. I'm like 80-something% of the offense. Pay me, and I think he was right there. But taking that time off, he obviously declined. And if Andy Reid can't use you, you're more than likely done. And it might be like Steve is saying, where he's trying to keep his name out there and make sure somebody knows he exists, so that way he can get on somewhere else. Maybe get a contract. Make $5, $6, $7 million fully guaranteed, and then keep it moving. But yeah, it sucks, man, because he was who knows what that career could have been had this whole situation not happen. And at the same time, though, man, from the team side, I feel like Pittsburgh, they kind of fucked them.
Yeah, they did, definitely did.
I think I don't know. I think that was a mutual fucking. Like, I think, if you're talking about the type of fucking that was, they were both thrusting their hips, and because one was going down when the other was going up, it was just a bad fuck. You know what I'm saying? Never mind. No?
I mean, I see what you're saying, Steve. Like, running backs are a dime a dozen. You know what I mean? I mean, you look at Todd Gurley, you give him all that money and his knees get fucked up. You know what I mean? That's why some people thought Dallas shouldn't pay Zeke, like they should have prioritized Dak over Zeke. And Zeke seems to still be holding it down. So, so all good there, right? But, at the end of the day, you're the NFL in any league for that matter is a what have you done for me lately, right? And Le'Veon was doing a hell of a fucking lot, and they didn't act like it when it came time for pay.
He was doing. Yeah, it's very similar to Jimmy Graham, right? When Jimmy Graham was in with the Saints, and he was like, "Yo, pay me like a wide receiver. I'm running more routes than our wide receivers. You're splitting me out like a wide receiver. You're not giving me tight end pay. You're gonna give me wide receiver pay." So it makes sense. I mean, but that year they could have probably won the Super Bowl that year because they did so well with James Conner. Had Le'Veon just been like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna take this little last bit and then I'll just go free agent next season. Instead, he kind of fucked them and they fucked him. They fucked him not paying him. He did them dirty by not coming back because they had a really good season, a really good team that year, and they look like a great team. Like it could have been another year for them, but
ultimately, shout out to him for getting the bag. That was what he wanted at some point. He got a bag. He didn't get maybe what he might have wanted at that time, but he got a bag. And, now it is what it is, because now you're coming out saying this about one of the most beloved coaches, one of the most revered teams in the league. No one's going to want you.
Right. And I think it's hard for anybody to exactly. Yep. Anybody take that risk because what are you talking about? Could it do for your fan base, your locker room, if he gets out there and starts talking wild shit? Like he might really be doing himself a disservice at this point. Better contact Canada.
They don't need him. The Jets right now got 4 running backs. One we drafted in the 4th round that looks like he's going to start, who was a beast at North Carolina. I don't know how we got him. We got a kid that we drafted last year in the 3rd round that could have started, can start. And we got another guy that, played last year when people were hurt and flourished. And then we got a veteran in Coleman. So, I mean, when you have those type of situations with 4 active running backs that could potentially have a good season for you, you look at a Le'Veon Bell and say, why do I want you?
Mm-hmm.
I can get a guy off the street and I'm fine.
It'll be a team like Seattle, who they love to throw steak and have 7 running backs on the team, and 3 or 4 of them are always hurt. So it'll be a team like that, and they'll use him as some type of change of pace, possibly. Russell Wilson knows how to check really well. I don't see that being a horrible fit for them. With DK and Lockett being able to spread that out, it could definitely, he could work there, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that looks, how that plays out. What you guys been watching, man? VP, you were saying that you started watching the food doc that EJ brought up maybe last week or 2 weeks ago when he brought it up.
Yeah, I started the High on the Hog.
Mm-hmm.
You want to send a special fuck you to EJ on that, because he suggested it and didn't say it was a series. I thought it was just like a 2-hour documentary, and it's just like 5 episodes, hour a pop. But it was good, man. Like I was kind of telling you in pre-production, they talk about how a lot of cuisine has its roots in African American traditions, which means it has its roots in Africa. And the very first episode of the series, they go to Africa, and they're talking about some of these foods that didn't exist in other parts of the world, like okra and black eyed peas and rice and things like that, and how these slaves, brought those things from Africa to the New World, and things that are just staples in cuisine now. And then one of the things I talked about with you as well, they kind of broke down the whole yams versus sweet potatoes debate, which that shit kind of that threw me for a loop, man, because I'm Southern. I didn't know that. So, it was very informative, man. And then I've only watched episode 1, but the very end of episode 1, he goes to this part of Africa that's called, in this country, Benin. He goes to a part there called Ouida, which was like the last stop before they were put on the slave ships. And it was a very emotional part of the documentary where they're talking about they have like this shrine that's there for the folks who didn't make it. The ones who, this basically a big mass grave of people who either resisted or whatever the circumstances that caused them to die. And it got very emotional at that part, but I like it so far. I'm gonna continue and try to finish it out before the end of the week.
It's good, doc.
I didn't expect you to know about yams because you call stuffing dressing.
That's what it is. It's dressing.
You been watching anything else?
Other than that, I did watch the Upshaws. I wasn't a big fan. I have to put my bias up front. I'm not a fan of Wanda Sykes or Mike Epps that much, so I think that may have played a role. When the show first started, like the first couple episodes to me felt like a pilot. It seemed like the actors in the show didn't really have a lot of chemistry together. The timing didn't feel right. As the show went on, and I felt like it got better, but I think I was kind of jaded from those first episodes. But I watched the whole thing. I think I may actually continue watching it, and only because my wife watched it, she liked it. My son watched it, he liked it. And so maybe that might be a show we can watch together. You know what I mean? Even though I'm not necessarily a fan of it. The kid actors on there, especially the older girl, she is awful. Like, I hope in the off season she gets some work in or something. She is really, really bad. Her and the kid, Kevin or Calvin, whatever his name is, the kid he get, the little boy. They're both terrible kid actors. They remind me of I don't know if you guys watch Grey's Anatomy, But one of the
No.
kids on Grey's Anatomy, her daughter she's a terrible child actress, and so it kind of reminds me of that kid.
Did y'all watch Mayor of Easttown?
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah, I forgot to watch that too. Last week I binged the whole thing. You should check it out, Steve. It's so think of it as like The Undoing, but if all the people were poor and lived in a community that people were addicted to opioids.
So Alabama.
But that's a good show. It's one of those whodunit shows. They do a good job of kind of disguising who did it.
Mhm.
And like I had my suspicions, and then when the show started focusing on who I thought it was, I'm like, I fucking knew it. And then they just flipped the whole script, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see it coming at all. They
Yeah.
when they get to the twist and you see what happened, you're like, oh shit.
I love shows like that, so I'm gonna finish it. I actually really liked the first episode. It's just I watched it and then I had to go pick up Ash from school that day, so then never got back to it. But I am gonna watch it. What else, man? AJ, you been watching anything else other than I know you've been watching some other shit.
No, actually, I haven't picked up anything new. I did watch a little bit of that show with Sam J, the lesbian comedian chick. She's from Boston. She had the
Pause.
Yeah, pause with Sam J. Yeah, and she she had the Netflix special. I thought was pretty funny. I thought she was funny as shit on her Netflix special, and I was watching her show. And she kind of talks, she's having like one of those introspective type shows. I forget the comedian that kind of did that before, but he had it like a series, not a series, but just one off. She's talking about life, politics, and culture and different things. So I'm gonna see what she's talking about. I already know there's some things I'm not gonna agree with that she was talking about, but she had a segment on there where she plays like a judge and people come up and ask her for shit. That shit was kind of funny. So yeah, I'm gonna take a look at it, see what it's talking about, and see how it goes and see what's up with it.
I saw on Twitter, Issa Rae tweeted out She tweeted out some pictures of her, Yvonne Orji, who's the girl who plays Molly, and the dude who plays Lawrence. Huh?
No, it's Orji, the VP. Nasty bastard.
Or Orji, not Orgy.
It's not. I've always heard it pronounced as Orgy. I've heard her pronounce it as Orgy.
Of course you have.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up when Steve goes over his thing. But anyway, yeah, I saw she tweeted out some pictures of them like on the last day of filming for the final season. I mean, it's HBO, so I'm hoping they can land the plane.
They're gonna fuck us. They're gonna fuck us. They're gonna fuck us. You know it. They're gonna fuck us. You know it. They cannot. HBO cannot end a series off well. If it goes multiple years and multiple seasons, HBO has. Is there one that we can remember that ended to our liking?
Nah.
Yo, they've got to be the king of that shit.
I know they fucked up. They've been messing up since The Sopranos.
Speaking of that, this past week was the anniversary of that episode. This past week, I saw people tweeting about it. They were saying this is the anniversary when people thought their cable went out.
Bro, we got robbed, man, and for James Gandolfini, rest in peace, for him to be gone now, because there was talk, for years that they would come back with something, right?
A movie or something like that.
And they did nothing. Like these are the decisions where you're like, oh, white people have this thing about, oh yeah, he's smart, that's code for, oh he's if you're talking about black people, yeah, he's cultural, he's not ignorant, whatever. But they really emphasize this smart thing, like, yeah, he's a smart guy, he knows what he's doing, he's really sharp. These motherfuckers, who's making decisions over there? Like, who's making decisions over there? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, how did you not get something out of James Gandolfini while he was still alive? How did we not get a better ending? How have we not had a premiere show that we love and like from HBO to end well? Even The Wire, it just, The Wire might have been the most digestible ending that we had, but it was lackluster. It was nothing to see there, and so I am really nervous for Insecure right now.
Yeah, and while you were talking, I just looked it up. I've just saw two different places where it's pronounced orgy. Interview with her and on Trevor Noah and Jimmy Kimmel.
He said orgy.
Yeah, they both did.
Maybe they just fuck up her name. I mean, she
EJ can't say. EJ just can't say. Yeah, I guess I was wrong. Maybe they fucked up her name.
I don't know. She has
Right.
a popular Nigerian last name, so I never heard it pronounced that way. But fuck it, I'll give her orgy.
They're not
for sure.
They're not Nigerian for sure. All right. I've been watching. Let's see. What did I watch? I started the Mayor show. I've been watching. Did you guys have Netflix? You guys watch Netflix?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got the family.
So, well, because like you guys never mention anything from Netflix, like ever.
We just talked about High
That's
on
where
the
High
Hog.
on the Hog's from.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, but I thought
yeah,
that's true. But you guys be fire sticking, so I thought you guys just be searching.
That shit
for
ain't been
names.
working lately, yo. I don't talk about that though.
Anyway, I watched that's I think it's called Sweet Tooth.
Never heard of it.
I've seen that. I've seen the thumbnail for that on Netflix.
It's actually really good. I'm about 4 episodes in, almost 5. It's really, really good, man. The idea of it is that they got it's almost like they're going through almost like I don't want to say it because you guys are gonna be like, oh, that shit's trash. But it's similar to like a Walking Dead, but not zombies, right? And when I say similar to Walking Dead, I just mean like that humans as we know it are starting to be extinct due to an illness or sickness of some sort, right? And they got kids that are what they call hybrids, half human, half animal. And so there's the main kid character is a kid that's like a half moose or whatever, or deer, because he has antlers and he's a boy. And then there's this big black guy who is the other main character, who was part of the hunters that would hunt those kids, right? But he, it was like something he did to not get killed by them, you know what I mean? And so now he's trying to protect this kid, and he's taking him through this kid, and you see them running into so it's like a twist between like Walking Dead and it's good. It's interesting. It's really interesting.
Sweet Tooth?
It's called Sweet Tooth because that's the kid's name. That's the little kid's name. And the kid thinks he's the only one like that. And then you come into to see that there are others, eventually you see that there's others. So there's like one that's like a half pig, half kid. And, it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
Is it American, or is it like one of those Euro type shows where they're talking and voiceovers and shit?
No, it's American. It's American. This dude he's black. He's a big black dude.
You know you
don't like British actors.
I don't. It's not that I don't like British actors. I just don't like when they have them in roles that they have to fake their accent. That shit bothers me. Like I was watching Midway, which I love war films and I love that film, but the main guy who's supposed to be from Jersey, his accent is just way too strong. And it's because he's fucking from Britain, and that shit like bothers me. Like it just bothers me. Like when they're not, like it's like if a dude was supposed to be from Miami and they were British, but you rarely get that happen because those accents are distinct. But you do see British actors in like country roles, and you hear the drawl, and that could be a little bit more masked. But when you're from up north and you hear somebody trying to front like they're from up north, that shit just bothers me.
The only one that did it pretty good was Idris.
Yep, and Stringer Bell.
Stringer Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have a Baltimore accent though, but none of them had a Baltimore. Nobody in that show other than Snoop was from there. So, or maybe just the white guy. on the Patarakis side. One of the white guys is from here, but that I mean that had to be really cringing for somebody from here because none of them motherfuckers sound like they from here at all.
Mm.
EJ, did you watch the first episode of Loki?
No, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait on it. I'm just gonna wait and sit.
Do some
And then
bingery?
binge it. Yeah, I'm gonna wait and sit because that's how I've
I
been feeling with Marvel lately.
it was good. I'll leave it there for you guys. It was good. Definitely you know, you're probably not gonna do it into the binges, but if you get a chance and you ain't got shit else to watch it because it was pretty good.
I
I
heard it was
thought
fire.
I thought Owen Wilson did a really good job. Really good job. And I like Loki. Like I've liked Loki in the movies, you know. He's an asshole. Very much like me, you know. And so I connect with people like that. So I like his character. So I watched the first episode. I look forward to seeing where that's going, more of it. It was really good. It was really good.
I heard it was fire, and I kind of I'm gonna try to wait and binge it. I'm gonna try, because of the Marvel joints, like this is the first time now that they've been able to do well on the small screen, overall, and popularly accepted to do well. So Winter Soldier and Falcon was dope. WandaVision, I had my gripes with it, but it was dope enough. But Falcon and Winter Soldier was fire, and it was only 6 episodes, so I wanted more. So I'm kind of trying to hold out with Loki to just wait till they give us what they got, and then I'll just go through it and be happy, But I
Yeah,
heard it was fire.
I liked it. I liked it. It was good. Um, I want to watch In the Heights. I think I want to see that in the theater though. I didn't watch it, but I do want to see it in the theater only because I really wanted to see it. I wanted to see it either on Broadway or down here at the Dr. Phillips when they were supposed to come here, and I didn't get to see it either way. So I don't want to ruin it with just watching it on TV. I know E told us that he thought it wasn't that good. Um,
Mm.
but if I know E, he was probably watching it on the 32-inch that's in his backyard while he was drinking at his little bar, as opposed to putting it on his big TV in the house with the surround sound and getting the full effect of it. So, um,
I like the lead actor. He was a dude that was on Spike Lee's joint of She's Gotta Have It, and then he's been in other projects. He was Mars in the She's Gotta Have It remake, and he's a pretty good actor, a New York kid. So
gotcha.
I like him. So I wanna watch that too. I forgot about it.
Yeah, definitely. But other than that, some sports today. 3 o'clock, Brooklyn, Milwaukee coming up, and then Phoenix, Denver at 8. So watch that. We'll be watching those obviously and talking about that. And yeah, that's it. The Just want to go on record real quick. You missed this part of the segment, EJ. But the the next verses is Trina and Eve. We know they don't have enough hits, and then after that, Soldier Boy
Bow Wow.
and Bow Wow. And I think versus is just waiting for that 6 month mark when everybody's antibodies from from the vaccine wear off and we got to go back in the house, and then they'll start getting some good acts again because these are trash.
Yeah, I'm hoping they can get Jay, or we need a Jay, and we need a Jay. We need a
Jay
Jay. We
what?
need a
Jay
Jay
Farrow?
Z. We need a Jay Z joint. I don't know
Not
who
gonna
he
happen.
goes against, but
Jay
Not
ain't
gonna
doing no
happen.
verses.
I mean,
Jay ain't gonna
Swiss
do a
said don't
verses.
write it out. He said don't write it off.
It's not gonna happen.
If you can make the numbers make Jay Z, they can make the numbers right. That'll be crazy.
If
It
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 Yeah,
it would be, but it won't happen.
it'd be awesome. We do need it. I agree with you,
Yeah.
We need that.
but I'm skeptical. I don't think
Give
it's
me a
gonna
Mary
happen.
J one too, man.
Let me see Drake first. If Drake does it first, because Drake is he's about stardom as whole, almost almost there, if
They
not
said
there.
they said Jay would have to face Drake.
That's who it would have to be, like a Drake.
That's
There's
what
not
people
many
saying.
others that's out there that
I can't think of anybody else.
Yeah, it's 20 tracks.
20 tracks. I can't think of anybody else. And plus, you're talking about, even though Jay Z has spilled over into other generations, you're talking about this generation's Jay Z, which is Drake.
I would love to see a Jay and Drake without the limitation of 20, right? I would like to see a Jay and Drake where it's let's start it at 5 p.m. and let's just go. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't stop until midnight or 2 in the morning because they got that many hits between them, then that's what we get. Like that would be the ultimate show. That would be probably the biggest thing that Versus could ever do, and they probably would break the internet.
Talk to me, man. Yo, just the hits, man. Jay got so many bangers.
Yeah.
Jay got so many bangers. I don't know that I would even enjoy the Drake part of it, but
I would. I like Drake. I like
Yeah, I
Drake.
like Drake.
You
I
just
do
don't like
too.
light-skinned people.
I like Drake. I just don't know that because I can't think of all of his songs right now, but
Steve don't like Drake.
Steve lying motherfucker. I ain't
I
never
know.
heard him say he like Drake ever.
Right.
I like Drake a lot. What are you talking about?
Man, I remember, yo, EJ, when we didn't know what was wrong with me and Steve used to go to the gym together. One day we're in the parking lot talking about music, and Steve's like, "Man, I don't fuck with Drake, man. Drake," he said Drake like type of nigga who will fuck a bitch and then pull out a nut on his own stomach. I'm like,
Yeah, but that was before memes. Like that was me giving you like a verbal meme.
Yeah, I believe you because it's the same motherfucker that when we were coming up said he didn't like fucking reggae music. He called that shit dog fart, yo. He was like, yo, I don't listen to that dog fart. He said, don't play that dog fart in my fucking car.
There's no truth to that. There's no truth to that.
That's the first time I ever heard anybody say some shit like that.
right.
Like dog fart. I was like, dog fart. And I had to think about it like, yo, this dude is wild.
Zero
Now you hear
truth.
Steve, he's like, yo, what go on, my youth?
Like Khaled.
Cocoa bread and shit.
You know what I mean?
This motherfucker terrible, yo. It's fucking terrible.
There's no truth to either one of those. Well, VP, there's a little truth to yours.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a joke. That wasn't me saying I don't like him.
Sure.
Oh man.
All right. Well, actually, Jay could go against Wayne. That wouldn't be a
I
horrible.
don't think Wayne got enough.
Yeah.
I don't
If you're
think
talking
Wayne got
20,
enough.
if you limit it to 20,
Wayne got 20, but I don't think he got mega hits.
he's not
Like,
gonna beat him. I mean, let's not get that misconstrued. I just think that wouldn't be a horrible matchup if, for whatever reason, you couldn't get a Drake. Like I would like to see a Drake and Kanye type of thing. The only problem is Kanye produced so much shit that it makes it tough.
Yeah, Kanye's got some fucking joints, man.
But Drake
Yeah.
has, if you're talking about Kanye's producing, you got Drake's features. You know what I'm saying? So in addition to all his shit, like when Drake come on a track, man, listen, now,
Kanye and Drake do need to square off too. That's a good one, man. That's a good one. Kanye got a new broad too. Got a new broad. Got a model joint. I think it's a joint that Drake reportedly smashed. I don't know for sure.
She's in it for the money then.
She's a model joint.
That had never stopped Kanye before. Look
No,
at
I
what
know.
he's having.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I've said it on the pod before when we talked about how the broad that Tyler Hero was dating used to mess with old boy from the Lakers.
Uzma,
yeah. And I'm like, I don't see how these dudes date these industry chicks that's been passed around the league or the industry, like a chick that got the baby, like she got a baby with Bow Wow, baby with Future. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dog. Like
talking about Ciara? No? All right, my bad.
No. She got a baby with Bow Wow?
No. Ciara dated him at one point, but she got the baby with Future. But and you see James Harden gave the chick that used to mess with one of the Migos $100K for a date. What is wrong with these dudes, bro?
Allegedly for a date.
Yo, they need just go get you if I'm rich, I'm going to get me a female actress that's out there single, making her bread. You know what I mean, a Megan Good type, Kyla Pratt type. You know what I mean, something.
They said date, but I think they spelled that ass wrong. If I send you 100,000, it ain't for no date.
I respect. I like James Harden typically because I like his strip club history, but this is just I don't know.
Oh yeah, I like him because he don't care. He tricking.
Yeah,
Tricking since tricking. All right, man.
ain't tricking if you
We
got it.
yeah, well it is, but let's 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 move on, man. Let's give VP the reins. I think we covered just about everything that we needed to cover this week. I mean, and obviously we could go on forever, but that's all I got, man. You guys got anything before VP? EJ, you got anything before VP takes the reins?
No, sir.
All right. Well, if you will, sir, floor is yours.
We appreciate everybody who joined us today on this episode of the Castworthy Podcast. We definitely appreciate you guys taking the time out to give us a listen. Where we can be found, you can find us on all podcasting platforms at Castworthy, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, iHeart. If they got podcasts, we're there. If you want to actually watch the podcast while you listen, you can check out the YouTube channel at Castworthy. Or you could go on the website, www.castworthy.com. While you're there, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, share, follow. That helps the platform grow, reach more people. You could also leave us a comment, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us what you want to hear us talk about. We definitely welcome any feedback. And yeah, man, we just appreciate you guys for rocking with us for this time while we took this journey, and we hope that you come back for more. Social media, you can follow us at Castworthy on Instagram. It's at Castworthy_podcast. And we will see you guys on the next one. We love you.